What's going on, everybody? PincheAls here, and we're live with the Stevensons. If you guys don't know who they are, Steven Seagal, Steven Tyler, and Steve Buscemi. But yeah, we're just here to chat and see what's up. Just been a while, it's been a minute. Mark's engine is at the machine shop. Shane is hooking it up. Oh, wow, we got some 5 viewers here. Shane is hooking it up with some parts for Mark to get his rebuild done. Hopefully, we have the parts in next week. What's going on, Kennedy? Hopefully, his parts come in by next week because we can rebuild his motor. And then we'll drive his car over to my house and then rebuild it, swap the engine over. What's going on, Rob? Gonna see you tomorrow morning, buddy. Bright and early. Tomorrow I'm gonna be filming a DIY with Rob. Actually, we're gonna be doing a ignition harness on his Mark IV. We're gonna replace the ignition coil harness. So all the 4 ignition coils, replacing that whole harness right there, back there, for him. So I'll see him bright and early tomorrow at 9 a.m. What else we got going? Let's see. Jeez, what else is going on? Oh. If you guys, Rob, on the 17th, you busy? I'm wondering if you want to drive one of the cars. I need a driver for one of our cars. I need someone to drive the Outlander. We got a car show pretty much down in San Diego. Dubs on the Shore. We're going to have a big old booth. We're going to be showing off our cars. We're going to show off our products. We're doing a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to have, yes sir, Dubs on the Shore. I don't know if you're going to bring your car. If you're bringing your car, then don't worry about it. But if you're not, McDubbin! Dude. Oh, wow. Dang, man. You know what? Get your sleep, and we'll see ya. We'll see ya when we see you, buddy. Speaking about that, before I forget, because I actually forgot completely, I was supposed to put on that poll for you guys on what to do next on the Jetta. I gotta remember to do this, because if I don't do this, I forget, because I get super busy, and I need your guys' pretty much, I need to know what to do next on the Jetta. Simple as that. Holy crap, dude. You need to chill, man. Yeah, but that money, though, right? I can agree with you 100%. How similar is it? They're actually almost identical. There's a couple parts here and there that are different, but they're almost identical in the car. That's right. You definitely need a good paycheck if you own a VW. Dang, today and tomorrow, all overtime. Whew. That is crazy, man. Dude, you need to go to bed, dude. 3.5 hours of sleep is not enough. I work on 5 hours to 6 hours on average. 3.5? Man. That's just the tip. That's just too much. So, for Dubs on the Shore, we got some cool stuff coming. We're gonna be posting up our these guys right here. You guys haven't seen these yet. If you guys are new to the channel, I do 3D modeling, and this is one of our cool 3D models with a palette that we have. That we have little rubber strings on it to hold it down, like kind of like a strap. So it's actually pretty cool. Yeah, buddy, get some sleep. The VR6, 3.2 VR6. Pretty cool. It's got the manifold right there. I still haven't taken off all the little parts off of it, but you guys get the picture. It's got the proper transmission on it with the rear diff. I mean, with the rear all-wheel drive. Yes, I am going to the Kobe Swamp Meet. So we got 4 shows. We got Dubs on the Shore, Kobe Swamp Meet. We have, oh my God, Familia Fest and Oktoberfest. Not Oktoberfest, SoCal Euro. Yeah. I agree. I do want to do an Audi. I actually do want to do an Audi TT build. But just so you guys know, Audi TT is a GTI. There's only one difference between Audi TT and a Mark IV GTI. Depends on the TT that you pick. But if you have an Audi TT with Quattro, that's the biggest difference. It's pretty much an R32, but with the 1.8T motor in it. And they're more expensive to repair. Yeah, the Elsinore one too. Oh yeah, that's the one also in October. They have bigger injectors if they are the Audi TT 225 model, Charles. If it's just a standard Audi TT, it is nothing different between that and a GTI. There's no difference between them. They came with 5 speeds and 6-speed manual transmissions. They all came with not AWPs, but APXs, I think is what it's called, or an AW something else. Those motors were pretty much identical to the 1.8T AWP engine. It's just they were meant for Audis, not for Volkswagens. I mean, even though they were identical across the board. Same horsepower output, same everything. The only biggest difference is where the hoses were located and routed. But there wasn't a drastic difference. Mm-mm. Until you get the Audi TT 225. Then it had bigger injectors, an actual bigger turbo, and obviously all-wheel drive. They made a lot of power for such a tiny motor. They're notoriously known for for that 225, you can get almost 300 horsepower out of those things. Yeah. Did they have 2 intercoolers? I don't remember if they had 2 intercoolers, but yes, you are right about the manifold. The manifold, the intake manifold turned to the right, so you have the inlet side on the right side of the engine, and that's because the way that they routed the intercooler setup It's not because they had two intercoolers. It's because they had a much bigger intercooler actually on the side. With the fender liners were vented, so it was just better that way because of how it was routed. Rebel against the machine, 12 valve VR6 versus a 24 valve VR6. Now, if we're comparing a 12 valve to both 2.8 liters, okay, if we're looking at a 2.8 12 valve and a 2.8 24 valve. Now, if we're talking about just, hold on. Hey, Google, turn the lights on.
All right.
There we go. If we're talking about, what's the word? Not the 3.2, but just the stock 2.8 liters. I have to go with the 12 valve if you want to make an insane amount of power, because they love boost. 12 valve VR6s love boost. I don't know why or why not. It was just a weird thing about those motors. They love boost a lot. Yes, 1.8T does beat both of those motors in a heartbeat just with the piece of software. Yeah, not in sound, no. Definitely not in sound. But sound doesn't win races. Sorry, Kennedy. With no turbo? Yes. Pretty much. Not any VR6. No. VR6 again is one of those engines. They make stock. They're just slow as all hell. Let's just be honest, guys. Stock VR6s are slow. They make no power. You know. They weren't meant to be fast engines. They were meant to be just good engines. You know. Exactly. Any NA motor is not fast. I'm sorry. LOL, your V8, you know. Whoa. Kick back on that one, Kennedy. Kick back on that. You haven't built, my guess you haven't built a fast Jetta or a fast GTI or a fast Golf, you know. Are they more reliable than 1.18? No. They are less reliable than a 1.8T, actually. If you want to go in the ranking of reliability, let's start at tier 1. So, number 1 most reliable engine you'll ever own is an Volkswagen TDI ALH engine. Okay? The 1.9 liter that came in 99, 2000, 2001. That engine will legitimately outlast every engine known to man. Okay? Second one, 2.0, aka the 2-point slow, is the next in reliability, in the reliability world, you know. Third will be 1.8T, and these are engines in the US. We're not talking about engines outside of the United States, just in the US, because there's some really even better engines out there, but we're just talking about the US. 1.8T, 12 valve VR6, 24 valve VR6, and then 3.2 3.2 liter VR6. Kennedy, reliable Honda or Toyota? I wouldn't even say either. Now, if we're talking about 90s Honda and 90s Toyota, whew, I'd take any of those cars in a heartbeat for reliability. A 90 freaking D16, not a B, but a D16 freaking 1.9 or 1.8 liter Honda. That thing will literally just live through anything. Okay? Same with the 90s Toyota SR22, whatever it's called for Toyota. The little chain-driven 4-cylinder engines they make, the little 2.2 liters. Again, extremely reliable engines for that era. Once you go past that, garbage. 100% garbage. I'm sorry. Uh, exactly. You drove a 90s Accord forever, and it drove well because they weren't meant to pretty much perform. They weren't performance engines. They were just simple, simple little reliable engines. You know. Um, I have a little. We have a little Toyota Tacoma, a little '97 Tacoma. It's got 397,000 miles. You know. What made me stick mainly to VW? Whew. Only one reason: the culture, the community. Uh, what's up, Mike? Ah, I gotta get these out. Hold on. Ah, sorry, guys. Ah. What's up, Mike? I finally got teeth liners. I'm actually gonna get my teeth straightened. My insurance apparently covers it, so I'm doing it. um, let's see, another build idea: 1.8T out of a Passat into a two-seater sand car. That would be dope. That a little sand rail, do a 1.8T sand rail. That would be super dope. Um, actually, we're doing a really, really huge swap. Actually, we're doing a diesel swap in my Volkswagen bus. We're gonna be filming. That's for season 8, or yeah, season 8 of my channel. So the next season of our channel, we're actually gonna be swapping out the diesel. We sold my Volkswagen air-cooled engine, and we're gonna be putting a diesel, pretty much in our bus. Exactly, the culture plus the style. Yeah, I can give the style. I mean, the looks are awesome, but 100% what brought me to Volkswagen and loving Volkswagen is pretty much the people, the community, the culture. All of that is just, it's just all about helping one another and just having fun. You know, it's been such a great ride. I love it. I can't complain about it. That's just one of those things, you know. So yes, we are officially sold my Volkswagen bus engine, and we've ordered a the adapter plate now to mate my engine, our diesel engine, to our bus transmission. Cool company called Kennedy Engineering. Look them up. They actually are one of the here in California. They do pretty much all the adapter plates you can think of to fit an engine to a Volkswagen transmission. You know? Yeah, I love Volkswagens. They make amazing cars. Pretty much fit and feel and just the quality of the car. For what you pay for, no Honda or Toyota will give you that, you know? I'm sorry, if you ever sat in a brand new BRZ or FRS, they feel cheap. And when I mean cheap, I mean the interior is made out of literal plastic, like cheap plastic. It just feels like it's going to fall apart, you know. You're talking a TDI motor. Yep, that's right. I got a diesel engine, a TDI, a 1.9 liter TDI engine. I bought it off my buddy Tim. Got a harness for it. I already got an ECU. All I need now is that I gotta send out my wire harness out to S&P Performance. They're gonna make what they call a standalone harness for me. So what that does is gives me the pretty much wires it up so it runs to my ECU, and then from the ECU I just have a gas pedal. That's it. There's nothing else that's gonna involve in it. Acceleration was 100% controlled by the gas pedal. There's no it's all or nothing pretty much on that, which is cool because I'll figure out how to do the acceleration and whatnot. Since it is going to be a drive-by wire setup, so I'm going to have an electronic pedal. I'm not going to be using a manual pedal. We just ordered a stage 3 clutch for it because I want power coming out of that motor. I want torque primarily. The whole purpose of us doing retrofitting our bus to this engine is so we can drag a trailer with us. So it's going to have all the sensors for the engine only. So pretty much crank, cam, coolant temp, all the sensors that are required for the car to run, to monitor healthy situations. In other words, health monitoring system. That's it. Everything else will be manual. So, meaning like the coolant temper, the coolant system is not going to be a part of the system. So we're going to have a what we call a fan switch. It's designed to turn on around 180, 185 degrees, and then we'll make a custom-made fan relay. So when that switch hits on, it closes the loop, and then triggers the relay to turn on the fans. The moment it drops temperature, the relay just opens, and that's it. The fans turn off. Very, very simple system when you want to run a radiator system for your car. The reason why I'm keeping that separate is because there's a lot. There's no O2 emissions. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's the car 71. It's exempt from any smogging, so it's gonna be super cool. We're gonna design a super short exhaust manifold, and that's it. We'll try to get a like a screen system designed for it, but there's nothing I gotta wear out. It's not gonna have an EGR system at all. I might have something to recirculate the soot so it just burns it out. But yeah. On a car that's exempt, yes, we are allowed to. Anything 74 or 75 and older, they are 100% exempt from all California or any laws in the United States for smogging. They are exempt because they never came with smog equipment. They never came with any type of smog laws. So because of that, it's not required for me to do any type of refereeing or making it legal, because it's not required. It didn't come with the car, so it doesn't matter to the car. But if it was a 76, because those cars did have, in 76, they started making emission equipment for it. So then you were required to have a car an engine that meets the emission standards for that year, that either meets it or exceeds it, so you can have it in the car. If not, then you can't have it. Then it's actually considered illegal. Yes, exactly. It's soot. Plant food. Awesome, Charles. I love that. Thank you for watching the channel. We appreciate it very much here. That all the people that do watch the channel and enjoy it and learn from it. That's the whole point of this channel, is to learn from the channel. But thank you, Charles. I appreciate that very much. And if you do start building, please send me an email with your photos and all that. I will share it on the channel. I will share it on my Facebook and Instagram. Promote you and what you do and what you're doing, and let people understand that you are doing this on your own. And that's what it's all about here at PincheAls Garage, We're talking about anything you want, Kim Kindholes. I mean, Jim, sorry. Anything you want, Jim. It's open book for that, So when is the Vader VR6 engine being picked up? Pretty much, I'm at the last 300, 500 miles of the break-in process. So once that's done, I personally am going to be making the trip and delivering this engine personally to Luis, with my family or just me and a buddy. We haven't figured that out yet. So yeah, it's cheaper for me to deliver this than to ship it to him. So I'm gonna do that. Since I'm gonna be heading that way, I'm also gonna be hitting up Shane Mackey. Gonna go hang out with him for a little bit. So I want to make a trip of it. I want to hang out with you guys for that stuff. Long gone go. What's going on? Do you recommend a Kerma TDI tune for my sport wagon? Well, I have it. I freaking love it. We got our sport wagon tuned and we drove, I'd say 1,800 miles with it tuned with the engine intake system. And it was amazing. The car did 40 plus miles to the gallon, hauling a trailer, 4 people, and over 2,000 pounds. As my personal recommendation, I highly recommend you get that tune and enjoy it. It's amazing, for sure. I don't have another tune to compare it to, so I can't give you more about that. Yeah, not a problem. So we got a couple comments on YouTube right now. Give me a second here. He says, where does the drive-by-wire... Oh, this is for a young duck. Where does the drive-by-wire plug in? So on our bus system, we're going to be doing the TDI swap. Pretty much we're going to just run the wiring from the engine bay and extend the wires all the way to the front of the bus. And then just run the drive-by-wire there. It's going to be a pedal. It's just a quick plug-in, and that's it. The gas pedal is literally 3 wires. I think 3 or 4 wires. It's pretty straightforward. Charles, boost doesn't mean anything. Okay? Torque. Torque is what's scary. Okay? You got to understand that. So I'll give you a good example here. All right, Charles, here's your little stock turbo. Let's just think this is just like a stock turbo or a KO4. Okay, here's a big turbo, right? All right, so you can have 20 pounds of boost here, and you can have 20 pounds of boost here. All right, which one do you think is going to make more horsepower with the exact same amount of boost? Which one do you think? Or do you think they're going to have the exact amount of power? They both have 26 psi. And they're both ball bearing turbos, so early torque is going to be there, you know? This is the one thing that a lot of people don't, when you say, oh, I got all this boost, and it's like, oh, no. Good answer. The bigger one's going to make more power. So, your KO4 will probably make 260, 280 horsepower. The GT28, the exact same PSI, will probably make 350 to 400 horsepower. Double what you're asking for the exact same amount of boost. Because boost doesn't matter. Okay? How much pressure doesn't matter. What matters is how much volume, okay, per PSI. So in other words, let's say 1 PSI here is equal to 1 cup of boost. 1 PSI here, though, is equal to 2 cups of boost. See the difference? So because of that, I'm going to be making more power because I'm putting way more into the engine at the exact same amount of pressure. Okay? PSI is strictly just pressure and how much pressure that turbo can create. My build, my GTI, my 1.8T, at 22 psi, I make almost 450 horsepower. Okay. However, I daily at 10 to 12 psi, which is a roughly about 300 horsepower, ideally in my car. Okay. And that's what people are like, oh, what the hell? Only 10 psi or only 12 psi? Yeah, you don't need much boost because I have cups of boost versus a cup of boost going into my engine. And that's where a lot of people, when they start commenting and asking certain things, is what happens. Is like, oh, no, it's all about psi. It's like, no, bro, it's not about how much boost. It's literally how much volume you're getting in through that motor. So hopefully that clarifies a lot for you, because it helps a lot when people when you actually know what you're talking about and know what you're saying and know what you're thinking. You know. You guys have any other questions tonight? I'm all ears, guys. Well, I'm all eyes because I'm reading your guys' comments. Yes. You're probably going to be making a lot more torque. Those little turbos make a lot of torque, for sure. Those little K-frame turbos, they make a lot of torque for such a little tiny turbo. And that's what ruins engines is... that's what pretty much what ruins them is just the torque. Stock engines hold about 300 to 320 pounds of torque. And it depends on how it spikes that torque. That's what really matters. If your torque spike is just instantaneous versus like a nice curve, then you're gonna blow your engine. Not blow, you're actually gonna bend a rod. That's what breaks engine is torque, and it's like high torque, like really high torque spikes, is what actually breaks everything. If you can keep your torque spike under control. Yep, that's exactly what kills stock rods. Even aftermarket rods. Aftermarket rods can still, I mean, even though they can take a beating, but if they just get a torque spike they don't like, they're gonna fail. Everything's, they can handle it, but something else can fail. That torque again is deadly to engines. But feels so good when you do a pull in it. That's what you feel when you're going, from a dead stop to going. That's torque. And then how fast you accelerate is pretty much your horsepower. Personally, I'll take torque all day over horsepower. And that's why I love the TDI. Small little bursts of speed, just, so fun. So much fun. Especially when you're off-roading. Come on, guys. Ask some questions. Please, please, please. Ask away. I'm here to talk. We got 13 viewers. We got 13 talkers. ALH for life. That's right. That's right, Alan. Oh, and by the way, speaking about ALHs, so my little 3D engine models that we talk about, the models that we make here at PincheAls Garage, we are actually going to have TDI ALH models coming very soon. Now, for a KO4, Mike, okay, let me answer Mike's question first, Rob. So for a KO4, once you put rods in it, you can make about 320, 340 pounds of torque, about 280 horses, 300 horsepower is really, really pushing, a KO4. I mean, and when I mean pushing it, I mean you're pushing the crap out of that turbo. Personally, I wouldn't even bother. If you're with the KO4, just leave stock motor. But if you're planning to go to an actual big boy turbo, then put the rods in there. You know, big brake setup to convert MK3 drums to disc. Best brake setup. Just look for a Mark III with rear disc brakes and just swap them over. You don't need to do much. Yeah, Stancy, that's going to be a hard one because personally, I haven't done one myself. The clutch switch. That's why when you do a excuse me when you do a manual swap, you have to have the parts car next to the car that you're swapping it to, so you can match wiring up, because that's where you're gonna fall into an issue is your clutch system. Number one. Number two, the on top of the clutch is the obviously the reservoir and all the lines for the clutch system. So yeah, unfortunately, I won't be able to give you a good explanation for that. However, great news, we are doing an automatic to manual swap DIY here on this channel for a Mark IV. All right, Captain Wolf, do you think running a GT28 on a stock block will be fine, just as long as I have modest boosts? I will eventually be pulling the motor and doing rods. That's in a couple years. Yes, that's 100% fine. Keep your boost under control. That's all that matters. If you keep boost under the 300 horsepower, 300 pounds of torque, personally recommend find someone to dyno your car and see where you're at power-wise and then tune it. Because you can get to a point where you can by accident have too much boost and blow your motor, and then you're kind of shit out of luck. I mean, that's you can definitely do that, Kennedy. That is one way of doing the manual swap. I mean, Stancy, that's a good thing that you don't have a two-step. You don't have to ruin your car. You don't have to break it. You know, and then a no lift shift. Again, it's another good thing that you don't do that because you won't break your car. So, in other words, your car is actually being really nice to you and being pretty much helping you keep the car last longer, you know? Reverse lights, when you pull the engine out, the reverse light wiring is there on the automatic transmission. You just have to change pigtails. I agree, Johnny Boy. Off-the-shelf tunes are definitely pretty dangerous. Well, off-the-shelf tunes with people that have two-step and no lift shift is dangerous. I definitely will tell you that off the bat. Two-step is honestly the dumbest thing you can ever do to a car. But yeah. Yep. Exactly. Thank you, Captain Wolf. Thank you so much. That's the reason. That's a good thing right there. Now you can listen to that guy. Yeah, two-step pretty much is causing explosions in your exhaust system. And for any reason that explosion just does not want to work with you, it's going back into the motor. Just saying. What's going on, Luis? Pinche cholo. Drilled or slotted rotors, honestly, Slotted rotors are the only ones that matter. What's a safe setup for two-step? Do not have two-step. That's it. So drilled, slotted, or both. Um, Slotted. Slotted is the only thing I recommend for rotors. Drilled, not as much, because what happens with drilled, keep in mind, heat is your enemy with any type of metal or anything that works. And you're going to drill a hole. Okay, so understand, again, if you're driving the car just for daily and you're not going to drive it hard, then drilled slotted is fine if you're looking for that look. Okay? Now, in the real world, you only run slotted rotors. You don't run drilled, because what happens with heat expansion and then cooling contraction, the drills crack your rotor. Happened to me 2 times. Doing a actual canyon run with a couple friends. I had my front driver rotor and my rear rotor literally just snap, or not snap, but crack because of heat strain. And that's what happens when you use drilled slotted rotors. Now, slotted is fine because you're not putting a hole through it. You're putting a divot in it. And the reason for that allows for a little bit better cooling. It doesn't allow anything else. There's really nothing else that it does. It just allows the rotor to dissipate heat a little bit faster. But in all honesty, if you're going to get into actual performance and brakes and rotors, you just get yourself a vented rotor. So if you look at, when a vented rotor, if you look inside the rotor, in between them, as long as they have the vents inside them, that's a vented rotor. All the heat comes out of that. Number 2, semi-metallic pads or carbon-based pads. Ceramic is the worst kind of pad you can use for actual spirited or serious driving. Ceramic pads absorb heat because of the nature of them. And what happens, you get brake fade. And because these pads get really, really hot and then they get glossed over, glazed. And that's it. That's the end of your braking power. You got to wait till they cool down so they can actually grip. Semi-metallic or carbon-based pads are a little different. They have metal in them versus ceramic. The metal, because of the expansion, when it heats up, cause a more aggressive grip while braking. And that means the pad and the rotor will dissipate heat a little bit faster and grip at a longer time. However, it still causes brake fade. And that's why you get brake pads are in the really, really expensive range for performance. So when you get into like really high-end braking, carbon fiber or carbon-based pads, because when they grip, they don't heat up nowhere near as much as a normal brake pad. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Performance is amazing. It holds up. It does a really good job. These are things that I've been learning with my buddies, especially my buddy German Steve. I'm going to learn how to duct. I'm getting ready to learn how to duct brake systems so you can get direct fresh air while driving and some other cool stuff. Any other questions, guys? It's nice you got the day off, Luis. It's been a while since we talked. Come on, guys. You guys have any questions? Let's talk, man. Oh, here's my Stevenson's shirt. It's Steven Seagal, Steven Tyler, and Steve Buscemi as a baby. It's a horrible, horrifying picture, but it's hilarious. It's a family photo. We had someone on Reddit make this for us. On Reddit, converting non-ABS, converting standard non-ABS brakes. So going from non-ABS to ABS, Luis? Is that your question? Okay, so you want to go to just no ABS. So now understand, when we are removing the ABS system on the car, I'll answer your question in just a second, Rob, and I'll also answer your question, Captain Wolf. When you're removing your ABS system, you do have to get a bigger brake master cylinder so you can create more pressure into the system. But understand, number one, if you get rid of it, you can lock the brakes now, okay? So locking the brakes is something that can happen now because you don't have ABS system. So understand that it's not the safest for driving on like a harsh weathers, okay? So yeah, Willwood is a good company. They do make an upgraded brake master cylinder to run all 4 brake lines. So you can upgrade your brake system. I would recommend that. So yeah, definitely do that. But just remember there is a downside of getting rid of that. Okay. Yes, there is a flushing process, Kennedy. I'll get you that in just a moment. So next question is from Captain Wolf. What should I look for in a dyno tuner? Look for a guy that actually knows how to tune Volkswagens, number one. It's the most important feature you'll ever know. Who knows how to tune VWs. If not, don't bother. Okay? Start there. If you can tune Volkswagens and knows how to tune Volkswagens, then have him get you a base tune and then dyno tune from there. Rob, we are going to be starting Sonic. Actually, I was supposed to start it last week, but again, life is crazy. We're busy. A lot of stuff to do. Sorry. I was supposed to start it. Johnny Boy, I'm looking for a 3.2 liter VR6 motor. What models should I look into in the junkyard? Okay? Johnny, understand. There's no such thing as an R32 engine. Okay? No such thing. It's called a 3.2 liter VR6, aka R32. The reason why people call it R32 engine is because it came out of an car R32, but it's not an R32 engine. It's a 3.2 liter VR6. Okay. So when you look for just look for a Touareg has them, Porsche has them, Passats have them, and obviously Mark IVs have them. That's awesome, Charles. We'll help you as best we can. Okay? Kennedy Clayton. Speaking of ABS, is there some kind of flushing process? Yes. With using VCDS, you open the ABS valves. Once the valves are open, you're free to push all the air out of the system. And the way the process works is once you open the ABS module or the pistons inside the ABS module, you go furthest from the brake master. So in that situation, it goes rear passenger, okay, rear driver, front passenger, and then driver. That's how you bleed in that sequence, and you bleed them all around. Drive the car, come back, and then bleed them, crack them one more time just to make sure there's no air in the lines, and you're done. Pretty straightforward. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, Charles, man, I'm listening, suck at text. I'm too old and slow to actually do have all the questions. New to these cars, I fell in love with them. I love my 1.8T, and that's awesome. That's what we need. That's the whole point of this entire channel is all age groups come in enjoy all what we do and fall in love with these cars. A 102. I already did a stage 3 clutch with a dual mass flywheel. Now built engine to handle 450 plus. Do you think I should replace my flywheel to a solid to support power? Yes. Dual mass flywheels, stock dual mass flywheels cannot handle that kind of power. So definitely want to upgrade to a 14-pound flywheel. If you got the money, go to 11-pound, but understand you're going to have chatter. If you know what chatter is, you're going to hear it. It's going to sound like a diesel almost. Because the rotating is so light, it will just vibrate inside the engine. Not an engine, inside the transmission. So you hear like flywheel chatter. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay? Yeah, just go to, just look up VCDS, download it, buy a license for it, and just go from there. Speaking of clutches, when do you upgrade from a stock clutch? Pretty much when you start modding. The first thing you want to do is dump a better clutch. Go to a single mass, go to a solid flywheel. I always recommend, if your goal is not to go beyond the 300 horsepower range, stage 1 is perfect for everyone. Okay? Stage 1 is perfect. Holds up to 250 to 260 pounds of torque. It's great. It's great for daily. That's it, pretty much. If you're considering going beyond the 250 horsepower range and making actual power, stage 2, stage 3 is where it's at. But remember, you're going to need some force now to push in those clutches. If you live in an area with a lot of traffic, you will hate it. Okay? It's not the greatest thing in the world. Come on, more questions. Let's get it going. We're getting a constant good set of questions here, and I love it. Did you say you worked at a machine shop? I have equal. If I have equal compression in each cylinder, I just dingle ball hone my block and install new rings. I do not work at a machine shop. I send a lot of my stuff to a machine shop that I'm very, very fond of. So I have a machine shop that I work with a lot, very closely with, and yeah. So if you want all the power, Captain Wolf, start going to stage 3 and up. That's awesome. If you did a manual hone, if you honed it with a drill by hand and everything worked out great, dude, that's awesome, Charles. Personally, I take all my stuff to a machine shop. I don't trust myself enough to do it myself. But I'll put a motor all together all day, man. That's for sure, Z's. Johnny Boy, what's your opinion on manual timing belt tensioners? If you buy the right brand, aka Integrated Engineering, the one brand that I know of, then yes, they are good. But it's only matter because you're going to be building a high horsepower engine. If you are just dailying it and it's not high horsepower, don't waste your money. Stick with stock. Cruise control doesn't work. Where do I start looking? The stock. So the lever that controls cruise control, you start there first. Then from there, I'm sorry. Fuse panel. The fuse panel, there's an actual fuse for cruise control. Check there first. If that's all good, then check your stock, because that might be broken. It might not be clicking correctly. That'll be the next part. So I would swap that out. In doing so, you have to pull your steering wheel to do that. Yeah. I mean, at stage 1, 3, for a stock motor, I mean, if you got more than a stock motor, then you're fine, yeah. I don't know why, Kennedy. I don't have an answer. I don't read Reddit a lot. I very, very rarely read Reddit. Right now, I'm into cryptocurrency, and I'm hoping that I make it big because I've been mining. I actually been personally been mining cryptocurrencies. It's very interesting. Um, I've been learning how to mine and move it from physical wallet to digital wallet. It's been interesting. Um, I don't know when SHIB will hit 10 cents. I've mined 2 million SHIB already. I have 2 million SHIB in my wallet. um, oh no, I mined. I'm sorry. I'm about to mine 2 million SHIB. Currently, yeah, exactly. Currently in my wallet, I have 1,391,000 SHIB. I'm actually gonna start moving over to. Now I'm done with that. I'm gonna be mining. What's the other one I wanted to mine? Tether. I want to start mining Tether. My mining build is my desktop PC. Nice. Definitely, Charles. The head is super easy. All you need for you, I mean, it depends on what you're doing to the head, but the head is extremely easy to do. I personally think the head is easier than the engine, than the block. Just so you know. And I think I have more fun doing heads than I do doing blocks as well. And again, for Johnny Boy, I don't have a mining rig. I just use my desktop. When I'm done doing whatever I do, I just leave it on and let it run. It's a gaming computer. I mean, I game a lot, so I'll show you it. Give me a second here. Hard to see it, but take this off of here. There you go. So it's a 5700 XT with a 3800X, 32 gigs of RAM, two 2 terabyte drive, standard drives. It's got three 1 terabyte SSDs, and it's got one 1 terabyte M.2. It's got a Fatality sound card, water cooled, and a 5700 XT, and an 850 watt bronze power supply. Pretty happy with it. 140 millimeter fans all around. Great setup. It's a great little computer that I use for daily, and I mine on it as well. I mean, nice. Have a good one, Captain Wolf, and thank you. That's one computer that mines. I have a laptop that I bought a while ago for the shop. I also use that. Correct. I watched his video as well, but he's going boost. Very different from going boost to NA. Going boost, you just drop compression and then just go at it. The engines were designed for it. The engines were VR6 engines were actually built for boost from the factory, but they were built for diesel boost, not what's it called? Not for like a gasoline boost. Very different how the engine was built. No, I don't use a lot of electricity. My whole house is solar based, so we have about over 30 panels on our roof, so we actually use a lot. We get a lot of electricity during the summer, so this is actually cheap to run for me. Actually, almost costs nothing for me to run. I gotta blow it out tomorrow too. It's actually super dirty. Charles, a new intake cam? Yeah, do it, man. Definitely do it. But yeah, yeah. So on the VR6s, since they are, I believe 1110 or 11-to-1 compression, so that's a high compression engine. Not really high, but high compression. When you put a spacer in, it drops it down to I believe 9-to-1 or 8-to-1. I can't remember. Nice. Hey, Pesky! Finally! Jeez. So, the spacer literally just makes the engine and the block just sit further apart. So you have less compression. So when you put boost in it, it takes it. It likes it. It increases the compression because you're boosting it. Yep. That's awesome, though, Kapasky. Being busy is not a bad thing. You know? Being honest with you. It's not a bad thing. Speaking of that, give me just a second. Oh, it's so hot in here. Exactly, Johnny. Makes more room for a party. That's awesome, Luis, that you switched over to solar. It's worth it. 100% worth it. Yeah, exactly, Jim. I mean, it's literally free electricity done right. My next goal for the future of PincheAls Garage, like the big future, if for anything, if SHIB goes to 1 penny or 2, or I mean, if SHIB coin goes to anywhere above a penny, there's a plot of land right behind my house that I want to buy and make that the future PincheAls Garage. What's it called? Location. I want to build it into a little workshop, and I want to have all our cars there, and I want to have people to come over. We're gonna have lifts. We're gonna have pretty much a full-on charity shop where people can come and work on cars for free, and you can store your cars and everything. It's gonna be a cool place. Again, there's a plot of land right behind my house that I want to buy. It's literally a 2-minute walk from my house, and I want that piece of property so bad because it will help the community so much. And if I have some extra cash, I mean, why not travel and meet all of you guys? You know, travel the whole entire U.S. and just hang out with all you guys. You know, take a year off from work and just travel and meet all of you YouTubers and my viewers, subscribers, Patreon members. Hang out. What off the booth shelf tune you got? I use damn, that is hot, man. I use Boost Dynamic Tuning, and it's not off the shelf. It's a custom tuned for my car, for specifically for my build. I pay for it, but it's worth it. World Domination Headquarters, exactly. Why not? You know, my thing is that I want to build a carport, and just the whole entire carport is a solar panel, and then have the cars parked underneath there and free energy while you guys have clean areas to work. The only downside of that property, it is what they call I can't build a house on it. I can only build like sheds and a workplace. It's built for agricultural purpose. So I'm probably gonna grow weed. I'll probably grow a few weed plants. Probably grow just random vegetables, and that's it. You know. And everybody come over. Yeah, you want some weed? There's some weed. Some weed and tomatoes. That'd just be funny. That way I can keep the property and I won't get in trouble for having, like, you know, other stuff there, pretty much. Nice. I'll take whatever, man. Just grow some stuff. I personally, I don't smoke, but I'll smoke if someone does want to smoke. You know, I don't care for the stuff, but it'd just be fun. You know, just have some weed plants. Salad with a kick. Charles, if I have an unknown tune, okay, and I'm running stock 320cc injectors, can I upgrade to TT380s and not have it retuned? I'm running a KO4 from Mount Intercooler Precision Blow-Off Valve, Jet Performance, Mass Airflow. Yes, you have to have it retuned because it doesn't have the duty cycles designed for those injectors. You have no idea what tune you have, so you actually got no idea what has to be done with it. Good night, Senor Luis. Have yourself a wonderful night. So unfortunately, you have to have it tuned. You know, your ECU will not adapt to that correctly. The car will run extremely lean or extremely rich. And cause a lot of fun problems. More likely when you get into wide open throttles, when you're going to notice all the problems when you start accelerating, pretty much. Is when you're going to start noticing your problems with swapping out your injectors. So no, do not do that. Get a tune for those injectors and for your specific modifications. And yes, it's going to cost you money, unfortunately. Anything that you do correctly, the only time you run a 4-bar regulator is when your tuner requests it, Charles. Okay? I still run a stock 3-bar fuel pressure regulator for my 450 horsepower engine. So you don't need a 4-bar unless your tuner uses a 4-bar regulator for his tune. If not, don't even bother. And this also brings up another good personal thought for you guys out there building your cars and trying to get into building cars. Food for thought, and it helps everyone so you don't throw away money. Ask your tuner, what does he want, so you make proper power for your modifications. Never, ever assume what injectors. Never assume the intake size pipe or mass airflow sensor. Okay? Never pretty much just dump that. Keep it, put parts in there and think it's going to make it better. The reason why you ask because you run out of fuel at top end. Charles, do you have a stock fuel pump? Thank you, Rob. Thank you. This is exactly the proper way of doing things, as what Rob is saying. For Charles, is your Mark IV with a stock fuel pump? So I can guarantee you 100%, if you have a stock fuel pump, you're not running out of pressure, you're running out of fuel. Your fuel pump cannot move fuel fast enough to your fuel rail. So what's happening, it's starving itself because the fuel pump is just not capable of moving that much fuel fast enough. That's your problem. Yeah. You need to get an upgraded fuel pump. Deshworks makes an amazing drop-in fuel pump that will pretty much handle all the way up to 500 ponies. But yeah, the stock fuel pump isn't meant to go beyond like the 240, 260 horsepower, if that. If that even means anything. Yo, just watch your 1.8 head assembly video. About to do this right now. Hell yeah, man! That's awesome, Evan. Got the block and head both rebuilt. Fuck yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad you were able to do it. Hopefully you did it on your own, maybe with some friends. You know? Hell yeah, that's awesome, man. I love to hear that, because that means that's another VW back on the road. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, just soak them in oil. You don't have to fill them with oil, just soak them in oil. It just makes it easier to drop them into their location. That's it. Don't fill them. You don't need to fill them. Just soak them with oil and just dump them back in. That's it. The only hard part is assembling the head back together. That's the hardest part. Mostly the springs and keepers. The keepers suck. Make sure you get yourself a nice little tiny flathead screwdriver so you can wiggle them all around and get them in there. But I'm telling you right now, Evan, that will test your patience. But it's so satisfying to get it done. So satisfying. And you're very welcome, Charles. Very, very welcome. One thing you look for in a fuel pump, by the way, is LPH, liters per hour. The more liters per hour is the more it moves fuel around. Not pressure, just moving the fuel around. Okay? The pressure regulator is what it regulates to your injectors. Your injectors is what spray open up and close at a very specific pattern. Now, fuel pump is what keeps constant pressure going or constant fuel going. That's pretty much what prevents your car from fuel starvation, on top of having a baffled fuel tank. Our fuel tanks are not baffled, so they slosh around inside a car. There's nothing inside to keep the fuel from sloshing. So what happens is, driving the car, on really hard turns, you can starve the engine pretty quickly because there's fuel not picking up and picking up and not picking up. So there's just something you got to understand as well, that can happen as well. Yeah, 265 horses. You can do that with the KL4. Not hard to do. Yes, I definitely would recommend that to be your next upgrade, for sure. For sure. Come on, guys. Ask away. I'm going to go grab myself a beverage. I'll be right back. Good night, Mike. Ooh, that's a good question, Evan. Go to Mamba Turbo. Get a nice ball bearing turbo. Yeah, Mamba Turbo makes legit stuff. And it's reliable. It's ball bearing. They use Garrett style turbos. Billet wheels, properly balanced. They're about $1,000, but you get everything you need to install it, besides a manifold. And what's really nice, they're internally wastegated, so you don't have to spend money on a wastegate. Your turbo already has it, so you can take that out of your equation for your spending, because a good wastegate is $300. Why not throw that into a better turbo? You know, a good blow-off valve is $200. You know. G25 is a great turbo, but if you're building a full block, go to a GT28, GT30 instead. The 3070 71 is like the perfect all-around turbo for daily. Cheers, salut. You know, I personally prefer the 3071 over a GT28. If you're not looking to make a lot of power, go to a GT28. It makes 300 to 350 horsepower for daily use. It's phenomenal. You get that extra little But a 30 will give you 350 to 400 and a much better curve for power. And if you get it tuned right, you don't have to make all that power. You don't have to. 300 horsepower is a ton of fun. 400 horsepower is ridiculously fun, but very dangerous until you invest a lot of money into transmission work. So, for me, a 3071, or again, get a Mamba Turbo. You'll save yourself about $200 to $300 with them. And then just get your stuff built from there. What's going to cost you a fortune is your exhaust system and intercooler, because you got to get it all custom made. You might as well, your savings goes into the exhaust system after that. For your KO4, you won't notice anything different. The wastegate, all that does is to regulate your boost pressure correctly. Going to a stock to an upgraded forge, there's no benefit to it, besides the fact that you have a forge wastegate. Unless you are running off a wastegate pressure and not an N75 valve, then yes, you will notice a difference. However, you're not. You're running off an N75 valve. It only matters to upgrade your wastegate is when you get into big turbo stuff. Big turbos, you want to run off of wastegate pressure, not off of a boost controller, unless you're going to do boosts by gear or a multiple stage boost. If not, don't bother. It's just a waste of time and money and effort. You're just, why? If it works fine now, it's not going to make any difference for you later. So hopefully that helps. Oh, okay. I'm going to answer Pasky's question first. On a 24 valve VR6, is doing the timing chain and hardware hard to do? And do I need to pull the engine out? Well, if you're only doing that and you're not going to try to do all the other maintenance on it, then no engine required, no engine pulling. You just got to drop the trans. Drop the trans and it's right there. It's all there. Just take the timing covers off. It's super, super easy to time. Everything has its markings. I'll give you the manual. I have the guide for that, so you can check it out later. It's on my Google Drive if you want to have the 24 valve VR6 timing guide. It's super easy to do. It's just torque specifications are kind of weird, so you gotta be very careful, Pasky, when you torque everything down because you can snap stuff. That was like my biggest issue doing the 12 valve VR6. You can definitely snap and strip stuff really easily. So just be careful. But yeah, it's not that hard. What kind of trans work for something like a 3071 on a 6-speed? Well, for a 6-speed transmission, obviously your clutch upgrade. Get into a stage 3 clutch or higher. Obviously you want to get a... my eyes hurt right now, guys, so sorry if I'm keeping my eyes closed. So you want a single mass flywheel, something 14 pounds that feels at least kind of stock. If you can afford it, get a diff before you do anything else. A diff will probably save you a lot of headache without breaking your gears. Then after a diff, then buy what we call raxles or race axles for that engine. I mean transmission. And then you'll be set. You'll be set for a good 400, 500 horsepower before you start breaking stuff. You don't need to upgrade the N75. The stock N75 is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. There's what they call a J valve, aka the race valve. Thing is garbage. Oh yeah, I would do the fork upgrades as well. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for stating that. Definitely a fork upgrade for the 6 speeds. They like to snap. How do I get away with cars modded in SD? Easy. My cars aren't in California. They're registered out of state. That's how to get away with it. Because this is what I think about California and their laws. Up their butt. Up their butt, around the corner, down the road. California's horrible. Too progressive, I think. I can't wait until we have landfills for all the batteries. You know, we got a couple more years left before we start just dumping batteries or putting them in the ocean and just ruining our ocean even more. Woo! Going green is great. Yeah, you'll get tickets for it, but do you have a California license or an OC license? Because I don't have a California license. I have an Arkansas license, so they leave me alone. They can't do anything about it. Johnny, no, I've never messed with a Quattro transmission. Sorry. Yeah, you'll get a ticket if you have out-of-state plates without an out-of-state license. If you have California license and out-of-state plates, you'll get a ticket no matter what. They'll be like, well, why do you have this? You know, they'll question you beyond belief. But if you have an out-of-state license and out-of-state plates, they don't care. They can't do anything about it. I did my research before I did all that. There's nothing they can do. They can hassle you and like harass you, but they can't ticket you for anything. My insurance is California. Because I have California cars and out-of-state cars. Okay, I cannot seem to get a real answer on deleting my secondary. Pretty much doing a smog delete. The tuner just codes it out and I pass. Okay. Evan. Let me just be real with you and honest so you understand. Okay? In California, you will not pass any smog test at all if it's tuned out. The way that it works, if you tune it out, it's just the car doesn't look for it, so you don't have to plug it in. Okay. There's another way that your tuner can tune it, so it turns on the monitors permanently. So, again, you didn't hear this from me. Obviously, it's on YouTube, so it's open to everybody. But you can have it tuned with all your stuff deleted, with all the monitors turned on permanently. Okay? So you can pass the ECU check, but you cannot pass visual. You will instantly fail your smog check visually, but you will pass electronically. I did this for fun at a shop. I had my buddy just tune it for all the monitors turned on. He tuned it and we took it over and just plugged it in, and it passed smog with my big horsepower build. It passed the plug-in smog. It immediately, obviously, failed visual because I don't have everything that's supposed to be in there. In California, we have something called STAR. So STAR smogging requires visual and ECU check for monitors that are turned on. If one of those fails, you instantly fail your smog check, period. Okay? Charles, I'm going to be honest with you. You will never make 300 horsepower with a KO4. Okay? Not possible. You will make 260 to maybe 280 horsepower with a KO4. And remember, that's pushing the living crap out of that turbo. Alright? Now, if you have a KO4 like super hybrid, where like they're super modified, where it's a KO4 but with like a giant inlet and all this other stuff that goes with it, then yes, that's a different type of KO4s. For example, I can show you that actually. What's up, ex-Lord effin' yo? So this is a turbo from Mamba Turbo. I'm going to show you guys this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Oh, tiny me. All right. Okay. This is a turbo from Mamba Turbo. This is called their version of a KO4. Okay. Now you'll notice right here, much larger diameter turbo. They're internally gated, but they run billet wheels. See if I have a better picture of it. There we go. So they run a really nice billet wheel that spools like no tomorrow. it's really cool because it's an entire kit. Everything you need to bolt this on to your car is great, but you need an Audi TT manifold for this one because this is what they call a KO4 23 turbo. They're not like your standard KO4s. You'll see right here, the outlet is different. It's not pointing down. It's actually going straight across. So you have to use the Audi TT manifold for this turbo to bolt it on pretty much. And an Audi TT downpipe or have a custom one made. But these turbos can make over 300 horsepower easily. Great turbos, make a lot of power if you're looking for something like that. Now, if you're looking for, like, say, let's see here. For big turbo, big power, Evan, this is the one I was tell you about. This is the turbo I'm actually going to be putting on my car. We actually got this turbo for Ian's car. We did this for his car. And this thing's beastly. This thing will make up to 450 horsepower all day. It is a beastly turbo. It's pretty much comparable to a 3076R. Uses the 3076 housing, but it has a super modified wheel. I mean, these things are gnarly, and they make good power, and they're water oil cooled. Super nice turbo. Again, we just put this one on a Jetta 1.8T, where our goal is 350 to 400 horsepower with this turbo, and it can make way more than that. And this is what's cool about Mamba. So once you have a wastegate in your turbo, you can buy a set of different springs, and you can change your PSI. What's really cool about this, oh yeah, it's ball bearing, buddy. Ball bearings, you're gonna get a lot of torque. You're gonna get a lot of nice low end torque. Yeah, no, you're gonna like it. You're gonna get that torque because the turbo is not a giant frame turbo like one of these guys. Oh, hold on. Let me get you it. Let me zoom it in for you. I know on big turbos, you don't need an N75 because it's all controlled by the wastegate now. You do manual wastegate. But this is a big turbo. Yes, my air flow sensor is also deleted. Let me show you guys this guy right here. So here, if I put it for reference, this is what I have on one of my cars, just so you know. This is a big turbo. All right? All right? This is next to my head. And it's literally as big as my head. All right? This is what I had on my GTI. I went a little bit smaller. I made almost 500 wheel horsepower with this. This thing is gnarly. It's powerful. Makes a lot of boost, but it's slow. It's a slow spooling turbo because it's a journal bearing turbo. So what's really cool about this, about these turbos, your torque, excuse me, your torque curve is really slow and gradual. That's what I love about journal bearing over ball bearing. because it's safer for you to run. It's so much safer for you to run one of these than a ball bearing turbo if you're dailing the crap out of your car. However, I'm tired of these turbos because they fail pretty quickly. These turbos love to leak oil. The CHRA, or the cartridge here, they're bushing base bearings, so they have seals that just fail. They just fail. It's common, and it sucks because you have to rebuild them every other year. They don't last very long. You get anywhere from like 10, maybe 20 to 30,000 miles out of these, and you got to rebuild it. Ball bearing turbos, whole different scenario. Way more reliable. They cool a lot better because they're water and oil cooled. Just way more reliable. And they're not cheap. Just so you know, ball bearing turbos are not cheap at all. But journal bearing, I got this for like $600. Lasted me about 2 years and took a dump. $600 every 2 years is not that bad. $300 per year for 500 ponies. I don't mind. You know, I'm actually gonna be putting. I have another turbo that's gonna be temporary on my car before the Mamba one comes in. I'll show you guys in just a second. This is my Garrett TD Performance Turbo with a much bigger wheel, smaller frame. You notice this is a much smaller AR. The one I showed you guys, it was an AR90. This is an AR63, so much smaller frame style turbo. It's still pretty big, you know, but this guy has a custom billet wheel made for it. Supposed to spool a lot faster. Exactly, Evan. This is supposed to spool a lot faster than my current turbo. So I'm going to use this for a little while until I get my Mamba kit in. And then I got to pull my motor out to install that. Because I want to do some upgrades on my exhaust system for that turbo. But this one will bolt right up to my current exhaust system. So I don't have to do any mods besides just bolt it in. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, so if you guys are going to Dubs of the Shore, you'll see this this buddy on there. I'm gonna show you guys this motor, this turbo. I'm excited for this one because I really want to see what it does for power. Probably run around 15 psi, maybe 20. I'm curious on what it's gonna make. Yeah, it was balanced, built by Garrett, but balanced and tuned by TD Racing. Look them up; they make some really cool stuff. TD Racing is a kind of like a subcontractor for Garrett, and they make some pretty cool turbo stuff. I mean, if you want the Forge turbo inlet pipe's perfect. You're fine with that. I mean, the mass airflow kit, you don't need to invest your money into that, man. You're not going to benefit. Same with the manifold. You're not going to benefit with an exhaust manifold with such a small turbo. I mean, you're throwing a lot of money at this car, Charles, for very, very little reward. Personally, I would stop throwing money at it, enjoy it as it is, and start building a big turbo setup, because you're throwing a lot of money away for either very, very, very little gains to almost nothing for performance. That's a good question, Evan. What do I recommend for tuning? None other but Trent Smith from Boost Dynamic Tuning. Awesome, awesome tuner. Knows what he's doing. Good stuff. Definitely some good stuff. Anything else, guys? If not, I just noticed we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. Holy crud. Usually these lives only go about an hour. I've been having a lot. Remote tuning. Yes, but you do have to mail him an ECU first. He usually gets your base tune first. So you have to mail it in. He'll base tune it for you. And then once you have it in your car, he's going to give you software that you're going to need to log your data. And then he will reflash it for you remotely to get it all taken care of from there. Definitely recommend that you have him remove the immobilizer just for safety reasons. You never know when a key will fail on you. An immobilizer just saves the day big time. That's good. You're a lot closer to him than I am. Yes, Boost Dynamic Tuning. I've been recommending him now for like at least 4 years, maybe more. Every person that's ever been tuned by him, by my recommendation, has been flawless. Flawless. And talk to him. Also, he loves talking to people and giving advice even before you throw money at it. So he will help you as much as he can to get you going on the right step forward. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to call it a night. I didn't realize it's been almost 2 hours. Excuse me, guys. You're welcome, Evan. Hopefully you like and subscribe our channel. Everybody else is watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you're not a Patreon member, please go to patreon.com and become a member. By becoming a Patreon member, it helps our channel grow and it helps allow us to create more content for everybody. Again, if you're not a Patreon member, please become one. It's definitely majorly beneficial to all of us, not just me. If you guys don't know where it's at, I'll give you guys the link really quick. There's my Patreon page. You're welcome, Charles. I will be back live again tomorrow. We are going to be filming the ignition coil packs harness, and we're going to have a DIY for that. I will see you tomorrow bright and early, Rob. So, new DIY coming, and again, become a Patreon. And if you guys are in California, definitely go visit us at the car shows that we're going to this year as well. Alright, Pasky, last question of the night. What should I look for to do on my car maintenance at 250k kilometers? So, it's about 100,000 miles. Crack pipe. Alright, so the coolant lines, anything that's rubber, replace it. Coolant housing, the thermostat housing, any gaskets for the manifold, pretty much all your general gaskets, just replace them, Pasky. you're at a good time and place. If you're gonna pull the engine or do the seals, do it all. Since you're gonna do the timing cover, you're right there for the rear main seal. Do the rear main seal while you're there. It's like right there, so might as well do it. Yeah, I mean you're at a good spot right now, Pasky. Since you're doing that work, to do all that. Hopefully that helps. Any more questions? I'm gonna say goodbye. Ooh, excuse me. Okay, night. Late. Have a good night, Pasky. And everybody else, have a wonderful night. And as always here at PincheAls Garage, we're going to break, we're going to fix, and we're going to repeat. Peace out. Have a wonderful night. And I'll see you guys again very soon. What t-shirt is this? Here you go. We got this. We had someone draw this for us on Reddit. Steven Seagal, Steven Tyler, and Steve Buscemi, baby. Family portrait, photoshopped. It's so ugly. I love it. Yeah, I pressed them here at my house, but yeah. Someone on Reddit drew it for us. We requested it, and someone did it. All right. Have a good night, girl.